Paul Bunyan is an American folklore hero who embodies the spirit of rugged individualism and strength. This legendary lumberjack is known for his superhuman size and strength, along with his faithful companion, Babe the Blue Ox. Together, they are said to have shaped the landscapes of the United States with their larger-than-life adventures. This is their story, filled with feats of incredible might, tales of friendship, and a connection to the wild American frontier. Chapter 1. The Birth of a Giant. Paul Bunyan's birth was nothing short of extraordinary. Born in the thick forests of Maine, his parents were amazed by his enormous size. As a newborn, Paul was already towering over the tallest men. His cradle had to be made from half of a pine forest, and his baby clothes were sewn from the hides of 10 full-grown bears. The townsfolk quickly realized that Paul Bunyan was no ordinary child. As Paul grew, so did his appetite. By the time he was a toddler, he was consuming entire wagons of food in one sitting. Despite his enormous size, Paul was gentle and kind-hearted. He had a unique connection with animals and the natural world, often seen conversing with birds and befriending wild creatures. Paul's early years were filled with stories of his incredible feats. At the age of 3, he was able to uproot full-grown trees with his bare hands. By 5, he could lift a fully loaded logging wagon and carry it across the forest. His parents, though proud of their son's abilities, worried about how he would fit into the world. Chapter 2. Babe the Blue Ox. One harsh winter, the coldest anyone could remember, Paul found a peculiar creature stuck in the snow. It was a baby ox, but unlike any ox Paul had ever seen. This ox was blue from head to hoof. Paul took the ox home and nursed it back to health. He named the ox Babe, and from that day on, they were inseparable. Babe the Blue Ox grew as large and strong as Paul himself. Together, they became an unstoppable force. They traveled across the country, helping to build towns, clear forests, and tame the wild frontier. Wherever they went, they left an indelible mark on the landscape. Babe's story was just as remarkable as Paul's. As a calf, Babe had been separated from her herd during a fierce blizzard. She had wandered through the snow until she collapsed from exhaustion. Paul's discovery and care brought Babe back from the brink, and their bond was forged in the fires of survival and friendship. Chapter 3. The adventures begin. Paul Bunyan and Babe's first major adventure was in the logging camps of the Midwest. Lumberjacks marveled at Paul's ability to fell entire forests with a single swing of his massive axe. Babe was equally impressive, pulling thousands of logs to the riverbanks with ease. The dynamic duo quickly became legends among the loggers. Their fame spread far and wide, attracting the attention of entrepreneurs and pioneers. Paul and Babe were invited to help with various projects, from constructing railroads to digging canals. Their contributions were so significant that many of America's natural landmarks are said to be the result of their handiwork. In one camp, Paul met a logger named Sourdough Sam, who became one of his closest friends. Sam was a master cook and could whip up a meal for 100 men in no time. He was famous for his sourdough pancakes, which became a staple in the camps where Paul worked. The three, Paul, Babe, and Sam, formed an unbeatable team. Chapter 4. The Pancake Problem. One day, Paul and Babe arrived at a logging camp where the cooks were struggling to feed the hungry lumberjacks. Paul decided to help by building the largest griddle anyone had ever seen. It was so large that it stretched across an entire clearing in the forest. Paul's griddle was heated by a bonfire made from entire trees, and the batter was mixed in a pond-sized bowl. The pancakes Paul cooked were the size of wagon wheels, and they fed the entire camp for days. This feat of culinary engineering became yet another tale of Paul's legendary skills. The griddle was a marvel, with a mechanism that allowed it to tilt and pour the batter evenly. Paul rigged a system of pulleys and levers, and Sourdough Sam manned the controls, ensuring that every pancake was cooked to perfection. Lumberjacks from neighboring camps came to see the marvel, and the story of Paul's pancakes spread far and wide. Chapter 5. The Creation of the Great Lakes. As the story goes, Paul and Babe were responsible for the creation of the Great Lakes. While traveling through the Midwest, they came across a particularly challenging terrain. To create a pathway, Paul began digging with his giant shovel, and Babe helped by pulling away the earth. They dug so deep and wide that the holes filled with water, creating what we now know as the Great Lakes. This massive undertaking demonstrated Paul's unparalleled strength and ingenuity. It also cemented his place in American folklore as a creator of the land itself. Paul's work on the Great Lakes wasn't just about digging. He used his engineering skills to divert rivers and create channels, ensuring that the lakes were interconnected. Babe's strength was crucial in hauling massive boulders and trees out of the way. Together, they transformed the landscape, creating a natural wonder that would endure for centuries. Chapter 6. The Mississippi River. Another famous tale involves the creation of the Mississippi River. Paul and Babe were wandering through the central United States when Paul decided he needed a new water source. He began carving a path with his axe, while Babe used her immense strength to pull away the debris. The result was a winding river that stretched from the north to the south of the country. This river became known as the Mississippi River, a vital waterway that continues to be essential for commerce and transportation. Paul's work on the Mississippi was a monumental task. He faced challenges such as swamps, dense forests, and rocky terrain. But with Babe by his side, no obstacle was too great. The river's winding course is said to follow the path Paul carved with his mighty axe, a testament to his vision and determination. Chapter 7. The Grand Canyon. On one of their many adventures, Paul and Babe found themselves in the deserts of the Southwest. The heat was unbearable, and they needed to find a way to cool down. Paul started digging with his enormous hands, and soon enough, he had created a massive canyon. Babe helped by pulling away the rocks and debris, creating what we now know as the Grand Canyon. This breathtaking natural wonder is one of the most iconic landmarks in the United States, and according to legend, it was created by the hands of Paul Bunyan. The Grand Canyon project was one of Paul's most ambitious. He used a variety of tools, from his hands to massive shovels and pickaxes, to carve out the canyon. Babe's role was equally critical, hauling away the debris and shaping the landscape. The result was a masterpiece of natural beauty, a testament to their combined effort. Chapter 8. The Winter Blizzard. One winter, a blizzard of unprecedented ferocity struck the Midwest. The snow piled so high that it buried entire towns. Paul and Babe braved the storm to rescue those trapped by the snow. Paul used his immense strength to clear the roads, while Babe plowed through the snowdrifts. Their heroic efforts saved countless lives, and the townspeople were forever grateful. This event added another layer to Paul's legendary status, showcasing not just his strength, but also his bravery and compassion. During the blizzard, Paul and Babe worked tirelessly for days without rest. They cleared paths to isolated cabins, brought food and supplies to those in need, and even rescued animals trapped in the snow. Paul's kindness and Babe's loyalty were evident in every act of heroism, and their reputation as protectors of the people grew even stronger. Chapter 9. The Oregon Trail. As settlers began moving west, Paul and Babe played a crucial role in helping them navigate the treacherous Oregon Trail. The path was filled with obstacles, from dense forests to rugged mountains. Paul cleared the way with his axe, making it possible for wagons to pass through. Babe carried supplies and pulled wagons when the settlers' animals were too weak to continue. Their contributions were instrumental in the success of the westward expansion, helping to shape the future of the United States. The journey along the Oregon Trail was fraught with danger. Paul and Babe faced hostile weather, wild animals, and treacherous terrain. But their determination never wavered. They built bridges over rivers, cleared landslides, and provided support to weary travelers. Their presence brought hope and security to the pioneers, making the perilous journey a bit more bearable. Chapter 10. The Redwood Forests. Paul and Babe's travels took them to the majestic redwood forests of California. These towering trees were a challenge even for Paul, but he was determined to conquer them. With his trusty axe, he began felling the giant redwoods, making way for new settlements and roads. Babe played a crucial role, pulling the massive logs to sawmills and clearing paths through the dense forest. Together, they opened up the land for development, ensuring that the redwood forests could be both preserved and utilized. The redwoods were unlike any trees Paul had encountered. Their sheer size and strength required all of his skill and effort. He devised new techniques for cutting and transporting the logs, ensuring that the forest was harvested sustainably. Babe's immense strength was invaluable in hauling the giant logs, and their teamwork ensured that the redwood forests became a vital resource for the growing nation. Chapter 11. The Birth of a New Industry. Paul Bunyan's influence extended beyond logging. He was also a pioneer in the burgeoning mining industry. In the mountains of Colorado, Paul discovered rich veins of gold and silver. Using his immense strength, he dug deep into the earth, unearthing vast quantities of precious metals. Babe, as always, was by his side, transporting the heavy loads of ore to the surface. Their efforts sparked a gold rush, bringing prosperity to the region and establishing Paul as a legendary figure in yet another industry. The mining operations were challenging, with dangerous conditions and unpredictable terrain. But Paul's ingenuity and Babe's strength overcame every obstacle. They built mines that were safe and efficient, providing employment and wealth to countless settlers. Their impact on the mining industry was profound, and their legacy in Colorado endures to this day. Chapter 12. The Railroad. As the nation expanded, the need for a transcontinental railroad became clear. Paul Bunyan and Babe were called upon to help with this monumental task. Paul used his axe to clear the path for the tracks, while Babe hauled the heavy rails and ties into place. Their work was instrumental in connecting the east and west coasts of the United States. The railroad not only facilitated travel and commerce but also united the country in a way that had never been possible before. The construction of the railroad was fraught with challenges. Paul and Babe faced harsh weather, rugged terrain, and the constant pressure to meet deadlines. But their determination and skill ensured that the railroad was completed on time. Their contributions to this national project were celebrated across the country, cementing their status as American heroes. Chapter 13. The Environmentalist. In his later years, Paul Bunyan became an advocate for the environment. He recognized the importance of preserving the natural beauty of the land he had helped to shape. Paul and Babe worked to protect forests, rivers, and wildlife, ensuring that future generations could enjoy the same natural wonders. Paul's efforts included replanting trees, creating wildlife sanctuaries, and promoting sustainable logging practices. His commitment to conservation was ahead of its time, and his legacy as an environmentalist is still remembered today. Paul's environmental work was inspired by his deep connection to nature. He understood the delicate balance of ecosystems and the importance of preserving natural resources. Babe's loyalty and strength were crucial in these efforts, as they worked together to restore and protect the land. Their legacy as stewards of the environment continues to inspire conservation efforts to this day. Chapter 14. The Alaskan Expedition. Paul Bunyan and Babe's final adventure took them to the Alaskan wilderness. They were tasked with building a new settlement in the harsh, untamed land. Despite the challenges, Paul and Babe thrived in the rugged environment. They built homes, cleared forests, and created infrastructure that made it possible for settlers to live and prosper in Alaska. This final chapter of their adventure solidified their place in American history as pioneers and builders of the nation. The Alaskan expedition was one of Paul's most challenging endeavors. The harsh climate and remote location required all of his skill and determination. Babe's strength was invaluable in hauling supplies and clearing paths. Together, they built a thriving community that would become a cornerstone of the Alaskan frontier. Their legacy in Alaska is a testament to their enduring spirit and resilience. Chapter 15. The Final Days. In his final days, Paul Bunyan reflected on his many adventures. He had traveled across the country, shaping the land and helping to build a nation. Babe, his faithful companion, was always by his side, providing strength and support. Paul's legacy lived on in the stories and legends that were passed down through generations. His incredible feats of strength, ingenuity, and compassion continued to inspire and entertain people of all ages. Though Paul and Babe have long since passed into legend, their spirit lives on in the hearts and minds of those who hear their tales. Paul spent his final years sharing his stories with children, passing on his wisdom and experiences. He emphasized the importance of kindness, hard work, and respect for nature. Babe, ever loyal, remained by his side until the end. Their bond was unbreakable, and their legacy as legends of American folklore endures. Epilogue. The legacy of Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox left an indelible mark on the United States. Their legendary feats continue to inspire and entertain people of all ages. From the creation of natural landmarks to their heroic rescues, the stories of Paul and Babe are a testament to the power of myth and the enduring spirit of adventure. Though Paul and Babe have long since passed into legend, their legacy lives on in the hearts and minds of those who hear their tales. They remind us of a time when the world was wild and untamed, and when anything was possible with a little bit of strength and a lot of courage.